Right when we felt that Jada Pinkett Smith could never get more dubious, some more dramatization just sprung up. And it shows how insane the dynamic of the Smith family truly is. Jada's children Willow and Jaden just approached to uncover her for getting them snared on medications, and what it meant for their psychological and actual prosperity. And you all will have a hard time believing the wide range of various wild stuff that Jada did to her children. Did Jada truly power Willow to consume the medications against her desires? I swear it's turning out to be increasingly hard to guard Jada Pinkett Smith, since it seems like each and every time we hear something about her, it exacerbates her look than we at any point believe was conceivable. Now, more often than not, when Jada gets hauled, it's generally on the grounds that she said or effectively humiliated her significant other. Well, yet this time around she is getting hauled for being a horrendous mother to her children Willow and Jaden. As per new reports, Jada had the whole family snared on medications to assist them with settling their issues. That is profoundly odd for you all yet. This isn't exactly whenever Will first has uncovered Jada's problematic nurturing for one Willow. Guaranteed that Jada had consistently treated her really uniquely, in contrast to Jaden, in light of the fact that she was a young lady. This shows how deceptive Jada was on the grounds that she has forever been a minister of women's liberation and uniformity. Yet she wasn't trying to do she said others should do if there is a distinction between how dark mothers will treat their girls and their children. Wow, something as straightforward as very much like getting up brilliantly. It would be like you could like you better outfit, to me resemble God. Help us know school's going to be you better get dressed, we want to get. And it would resemble I'd be in my room, like Oka. I must get it, however, at that point, Jaden is there. She's like messy, and Jaden was saying is unique. And he'd resemble there's perhaps 1 second laughter. It has a ton of analysis in light of the fact that Jada has consistently attempted to depict herself as a women's activist, discussing female strengthening orientation equity, how no orientation ought to be treated as more exceptional, and everything. And in the meantime, she was doing something else to her own children, and giving Jaden particular treatment since he's a kid, yet some way or another that is not even the most exceedingly terrible of it, in light of the fact that as per Willow Jada, and will have essentially controlled her life all along. And she has had very little to say in where her life headed. For instance, when she dropped her tune Whip My Hair in 2010, she was just 9 years of age. And the melody turned out to be such a success that she was quickly tossed into the spotlight. I mean, she had previously been at the center of attention. Yet that was a result of who her folks were. The point at which she delivered With My Hair, she became popular, in view of what her identity was. Nevertheless, it just so happens Willow would have rather not done the melody, and she was constrained into it by her folks growing up with renowned guardians. She definitely knew the tension that accompanied a claim, and she would have rather not gone into music. Yet on the grounds that she felt like she was excessively youthful and didn't have any desire to manage the battle of being a vocalist, she let her folks know this, yet they didn't listen. I most certainly needed to pardon you. And Daddy, for that entire thing it was, for the most part, Daddy, since he was so similar to Cruel Right. At specific times, I'm attempting to recapture trust for not feeling like I wasn't paid attention to, or nobody tended to think about what I felt during that time. It got so awful that she fostered a cancer emergency, since she simply didn't have the foggiest idea what her identity was. It's to be expected. And we witnessed this a ton with kid stars who were driven into the spotlight from an extremely youthful age. Her emotional wellness essentially failed after this, and she needed to battle with that too, on top of managing every one of the tensions of her recently discovered thing in this hazy situation of like, who am I like? Is there like, do I have a reason like? Is there any such thing I can do other than? She was confronting such an emergency that she shaved off her hair, and it's sort of difficult to envision how awful her psychological wellness got that she made such an extraordinary stride As a kid, Willow likewise uncovered that she began participating in self-hurt conduct. As a method for adapting to the aggravation, I was very much like dove into this dark opening. And I resembled trimming myself. What better believe it, this is lamentable. Yet I could go on and on about how Jada and Will basically passed on their children to bring themselves up in a meeting. Will said we don't do discipline the way that we manage our children as they are liable for their lives. Our idea is essentially as youthful as conceivable. Give them, however, much command over their lives, as could reasonably be expected. So fundamentally, they tossed the children into the spotlight and essentially passed on them to fight for them. And it got so awful that Jaden requested to be liberated at 15. Indeed, 15. Presently, for the individuals who don't realize liberation, essentially implies that he needs to be pronounced a grown-up. It's sort of wild the way in which he needed to be a grown-up at 15. In light of the fact that most grown-ups are battling to return to being kids, assuming you feel that is insane, well, greeting to the existence of the Smiths. Since it gets more insane, his folks were not precisely against his liberation, despite the fact that Jada communicated some worry. This happened a long time back, yet Jaden's craving for opportunity calls individuals to accept that his folks were not precisely working, effectively nurturing him. And he chose to carry on with his life, according to his very own preferences. And discussing Jaden, do you all recollect when everybody was persuaded that he was taking medications, despite the fact that he never behaved like he was insane or temperamental? There was a ton of hypothesis that he could be impaired on the grounds that he appeared, as though he had lost a ton of weight. I won't lie, there were times when he had that tranquilized up look, and there was a ton of worry among fans about what was the deal with him. Well, incidentally, he was on drugs eventually in his life. While we couldn't say whether he was on drugs around the time he was looking so thin, he has of late conceded that he had attempted a few hallucinogenic medications. And the wild part is that his mother was the person who acquainted him with them. Much more terrible, it wasn't simply Jaden who got snared on the medications. Since she got Willow snared too, in a new meeting he uncovered. I think it was my mother, truly, that was actually the first to make that step for the family. It was only her for seemingly forever, and afterward. At last it recently streamed and developed. And everyone found it in their own specific manners. Utilizing drugs around your children is sufficiently awful, yet acquainting them with the medications is only some dreadful, frightful business. And dislike Jaden was making things up in light of the fact that, as per sources, Willow has likewise affirmed exactly the same thing. An insider uncovered that Willow guarantees that Jada acquainted hallucinogenic medications with the family as a method for assisting them with unwinding. And in the end it advanced into something that the whole family did together to breathe easy. Well, Jada responded to her children, claims in an explanation to Individuals magazine, where she said, I think individuals have made a ton of presumptions. And you know what, as it should be, I need to take responsibility for concerning the story that I've taken part in the misrepresentations about myself. I battled with misery for such a long time. And what about the plant medication? Is it assists you with feeling improved, yet additionally tackles the issues of how you arrived in any case. She got cooked via virtual entertainment, and individuals said stuff like that enduring tainted narrative finna go off the deep end. Consistently, Jada Pinkett Smith tracks down a better approach to stun us each and every year. And Jada Pinkett Smith is terrible every way under the sun. What is happening is all shades of screwed up. Yet I would like to understand what you all think. Do you feel that Jada is similarly basically as terrible as individuals say? Or is she just misjudged? Let me in on what your contemplations are, and on the off chance that you think this is wrecked, kid, hold on until you see the